Hey there, welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations, and it has been a while since I have gone into the big stash back there and done a bit of a thrift flip video. But it's spring now, and people are starting to get their gardens ready and zhuzh up their outdoors, and I have a bunch of stuff that needs zhuzhing. So let me show you the projects that we're going to work on. I grabbed 5 of them that I thought would work well outdoors. I mean, fine, use them indoors if you want to, but I'm envisioning them outside. So the first one is a baggie that I thrifted. So $5 less than $1.50, so $3.50. I didn't even take it out of the bag yet to see, but it is just a little wind chime. So what I thought that we could do is just zhuzh this up slightly. Just, you know what, repaint it. It's got a couple of little dings, like, you know, this little stick that the bird's sitting on is kind of gone. But you won't notice that when we paint it up. And anything that we're going to do to it does not damage it in any way. I'm not going to restring it because I quite likely would never get it restrung properly again. So I'm going to paint around strings, which may not be the best choice, but we'll see how it goes. So that's project number 1. I have this cute little planter box. It's got old vines that we need to ditch. But I am looking at just kind of brightening it up a little bit and, you know what, making it loved again. It doesn't have to be quite as rustic. I mean, it's still gonna be rustic. It's still the natural sticks. I love that look of it. But we're gonna do just a really super quick fix on that one. I have this little planter rocking chair. Now, you know what? This isn't in great shape. This isn't in great shape. Certainly not perfect condition. Okay, this is sticks. I don't know if it was ever in perfect condition. But it doesn't mean that they're not usable and that they can't be functional. It does mean, though, that whatever I do to them, because I would be looking at selling them in the store, it means that I need to do a quick fix on them because I'm not going to sell them for very much. I didn't pay anything for these 2 items. So that gives me a little bit more room to play because I'm not trying to make back my money. But it does mean a little bit of grunge inside there. I got the spider webs, I just didn't get some of the dirt. So it does mean that I want to do something almost like one and done. I want to do something very quick and very fast and then let it go. Okay, I have this little guy. So super cute. I think that it would be great outdoors with like a big candle in it because it's got the protection over it. It's just super sweet. It's all metal, so it's going to be fine outside. But again, it's kind of done as it is. I think we just need to brighten it up a little bit. So again, quick fix, but we want a quick turnaround. These aren't things that you want to hang on to for a long time because then the season's gone and you're hanging on to them for a year, and that doesn't make sense, especially if you see all the clutter and the things I'm already hanging on to. This guy, so wall sconce candle. This is pretty wobbly, so we're gonna complete that process and ultimately look at removing it. I don't even know where that screw comes from. It's like, it's not in there anywhere. Okay, so we are going to just quickly turn this into like a little planter area for outside and zhuzh it up a little bit, brighten it up. And yeah, those are our projects. So let me go grab some paint, see what we're gonna get started with first, and then we'll get rolling for our little bird. what I want to do is I'm just taking a Fusion all-in-one paint, because anything that's going outdoors, you want to have the extra protection of more layers of sealant. So I'm taking Casement, which is one of the whites. I'm offloading, and then I am going to dry brush it over the cage. So look at how that looks. This versus this. Just a small change, but just so much more interesting, right? Super fast. And again, because this has already got the built-in top coat, it's kind of just, you know, do it, let it dry, and it's done. Like, look. So pretty. And it just shows it off so much better. And I love the look of this over those wires. That's it. And quite honestly, this is just about dry already. So I'm not getting any paint on my hands holding this. So it dries super fast because there's so little paint on it. All that remains to be done on this, all right, just kind of turn it around. See? Yeah. So look at just the details. So pretty. Is do the same thing to the base. This one, I need to first take all this broken little twine out of there. Now, this one that's kind of wrapped around sort of was helping hold it together, but that's because it's got like one long spike through it and nothing else. The problem is that this is all really old and brittle and tired, and it's not really holding anything together. Anyway, so, you know, let's remove it and stop pretending it's doing anything. That'll help clean it up when we go to zhuzh it a little bit. Okay, now that we've got all of those little vines off, what I want to do is just drop. It's got like a metal bar going up through it, but I just want to drop, one more little vine piece. I just want to drop a little bit of, I'm using hot glue just because it's easier for me, not because it's better than anything else, but you can certainly use any kind of strong glue of your choice. And I just want to kind of put a little dab of it in to some of those uppermost branches. Hold them together while it dries, just to make it a little bit more solid. Okay, so the reason that I did this next, and really all I needed was a couple of little dabs of glue up at the top one to hold this down, and then the rest all stay in place automatically because they're on the same little metal spike. So the reason I did this one next was because I want to do the same dry brushing. All I'm going to do is dry brush a little bit of the same Casement over all of my sticks, just to kind of whitewash them a little bit. And look at how that already starts to just brighten it up, right? Just freshens it up a little bit, makes it look a little bit more modern, and then we're good to go. For this little guy, what I want to do is more stain it than paint it. It's got this great weathered wood look already happening, so I am taking some Fancy Farm Girl from DIY, and I have a little tiny bit of water here, so I am just going to water it down. Now, DIY paint is super concentrated paint because it's clay-based. The clay will hold a lot of pigment. So you can dilute this paint to up to 10 parts water to be able to create stains in various shades and things. So, you know, it's water-based, so don't be afraid to use it like that. Now, the only difference with this one, of course, is that it doesn't have a sealer built in. But quite honestly, even if I took an all-in-one paint, If I made it into a wash like this, I would have diluted it too much, so the integrity of the sealer is gone. You know, you could maybe get away with 10% water, 15% water, no more than 20, and then it really isn't sealed anymore. You still have to seal it. So at this stage, because of the wash that I'm doing, any paint is going to need to be sealed still. So this is very runny. I'm just going to paint it on, and quite honestly, this wood is going to be very thirsty, so it's going to soak it in. So even though it looks like there's a fair bit on there, you're going to see that it kind of fades. But see that translucent kind of look? That's what I'm after for this. I'm not looking for this to be fully solidly painted. You could if you want, but I like the look with this weathered wood, just kind of going old school and making it look like it's got that old world stain to it. Now you could achieve that also by mixing up some milk paint. So if you have milk paint, this would be a great little piece to use it on as well. But I'm gonna get all the surfaces covered with this, let it soak in and do its thing. I'm not gonna dispose of this though until it's fully dry and I see how much color has been left on it versus soaked up into it. So I'm gonna get at least the one coat on and then assess whether or not it's going to need more. But because I'm not looking for a super strong color, I think it's just kind of fun leaving all that wood showing on this particular piece. We'll see how it goes. For the birds, I'm just, again, gonna use all-in-one paints. These are two colors from paint lines that I was testing that I didn't go with, so don't worry about them. But they could be comparable to, this one needs turning. I decided that what I'm gonna do is two-tone it. I'm gonna do two different colors of blue, and before these colors completely solidify and they're just gone, I just thought, oh, why not use those? So I'm gonna do a lighter blue on the birds, and I'm gonna do a slightly darker blue on the other elements. And what I envision is, I don't know if I'm gonna need one or two coats. Really depends upon the paint. This one seems a little watery, so this brand, which is why I didn't go with them, much preferred the Fusion, but this is when I was in my testing all-in-one paints, which would be better to bring in. This paint brand, I don't want to trash anybody on camera, but that's one of the reasons why I don't carry this one and I carry Fusion instead, because its coverage is better. I still need a piece for this, but in the meantime, we're gonna get it painted out, and I'm gonna paint it in Cathedral Taupe by Fusion. So give it just kind of a soft taupey color, kind of goes with the name of the paint. Ay, ay, ay. People doing work outside. But I'm just gonna get this coated, 2 coats of paint, let it dry, and then we'll be able to move on with the next part. Next little step, we need a pot to go with this. So what I have taken is I've taken one of the little IOD stamps. This comes from the Antiquities package. So the Antiquities package, and just fits perfectly on there. I just want something that's gonna have a little bit of a texture to it. So stamp, not stamping this, I'm gonna stamp my clay. So I'm taking a little bit of air dry clay, and I'm just looking around because I'm gonna have to roll this out. Now I have a little piece of acetate. Paint on this side, nothing on this side. Just, you know, using what you have available. But what I want to do is I want to roll this out. Okay, that'll maybe work. Just want to roll this out nice and thin and even. And I just need it to be bigger than my stamp. And I need it to be thick enough that my stamp can get embedded into it. So I'm going to depress that in. And I just want to kind of roll it away a little bit. Okay, so you can see how my whole pattern is pressed into that. And what I'm going to do then is take an X-Acto knife, if I can find one. And I'm just going to cut my stamp out, just roughly around the edges. And I'm going to glue it in place onto my pot. I'm going to put the rest of my clay away. Seal that up. I'm just going to flip this over. All right, so I just happen to have the acrylic glue was sitting here versus my wood glue off on the other side. But you could use any kind of tacky glue, whatever you'd like. Okay, let me just make sure it's sitting in the right direction so that my little rooster's not upside down. And I'm going to affix that onto my pot. Now, what I am going to do is take that same cathedral taupe, and I'm going to paint this out. What I'm going to do is let this sit and just kind of air dry for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm just going to paint it carefully so that I don't get rid of any of the patterning that's in there. But I'm going to get it painted out so it matches my other piece. And then we can look at zhuzhing it up a little bit more from there. This is our little green stained chair. And all that's left is to get it sealed up. Now I have the bottom little dregs of a sealer here, which is a fusion matte. So I'm going to use that, but because this is DIY, that color will deepen. It dries lighter than it is. And this wood was so absorbent, it was crazy. So it's probably going to absorb the sealer. Now, very often I get people asked, well, could I seal with wax? You know what? Not recommended for outdoor use. Your wax candles will melt out there in the sun. You don't want your finish to be melting away on you as well. So this, anything for outdoors, I want to use an outdoor sealer on. Now, this particular sealer is not really rated for outdoors, but because this is a weathered look, I don't mind using it up for this because this is going to be, it's going to be weathered anyway. When we go looking at sealing bigger items or other things, for those, I would probably recommend instead that you go to the hardware store and you get a sealer recommended for outdoors. Always going to be a better bet if it's going to be sitting out in the sun and the rain. We've got two quick little pieces to finish off here. First is this guy. Now, what I do have is I have Dark and Decrepit by DIY, which is a dark liquid patina. And I just want to add this over my pot, certainly over all of that label, adding a little bit of dimension. I've got a wet cloth here to the side. And before that dark and decrepit dries, I just want to wipe it away. And you can see that it's sitting down in all of those crevices, all the indentations from that stamp that we impressed into our air dried clay. And we're going to get that kind of showing us all the detail. Now I've kind of extended beyond my pot. I'm using my rag to kind of take some of that dark and decrepit further so that the rest of my pot doesn't look brand new and the label look totally aged. But look at how awesome that looks. So what I am going to do is take this all the way around the rim, and again wiping back. This dries fairly quickly actually, and then using the dirty rag to kind of wipe it down as well so the rest of my pot doesn't look totally pristine. And then, because I'm going to be screwing it on to this base, I'm going to do the same to that base. And this is just going to sit up here, the hole going into the screw hole there, and it's going to become one. The last little piece that I want to do to this guy, oh, I need that paint hovering way over there, is I want to just kind of whitewash these. Now, if I was using this indoors, I would just get white wax and do it, but it's going to be outside, in which case the wax is going to melt. I could do a glaze technique, so mix up my own white glaze, but I don't want to open a whole container of glaze for just one tiny little project, and I don't have any open glaze. What I do have is some exterior top coat. So what we're going to do, if I get the lid off, is I am just going to, let me just do it this way. I don't need a lot, so I'm not making a lot. So I'm taking that, and I am taking a little bit of my Fusion white paint, and I am just going to use that as a glaze. So I'm just coloring my top coat, and I'll use that as a glaze instead. So what I want to do with this, and my wet cloth is covered in the dark and decrepit. I should have done the white first. Okay, go figure. So in essence, I'm going to take the white glaze and I'm going to paint it over my pieces. And then I'm going to take a damp cloth and I'm just going to kind of dab at it to have the white sitting in all of the lows. And then I'm going to leave it to dry. Then this one's done. This was a fun video today. I have to say, thrift flips are one of my favorite things to do, mostly because you're taking items that other people are getting rid of, that they're saying, oh, there's not really a use for this in my house anymore. I don't like the look of it. It doesn't work for me. It's old, it's damaged, it's ugly. And we're breathing new life into it. We're saving it. We're making it to be something that is infinitely usable and lovable, more than anything else, that people are going to love it again. So case in point was this. So we started with just this little stick plant holder. And really, we just had to do some minor repairs. We took off some old ratty vines. We just tightened up. We used hot glue. I mean, we didn't do anything fancy, but we tightened them up so that it's nice and sturdy again. And we dry brushed some all-in-one paint on it. That was it. Then we're done. And it takes like 2 kind of medium-sized pots. These are just IKEA plants that I have here for demonstration purposes. But look at how cute that is. You can hang it on a wall. You can just sit it on a table. Something that you've got going on outside. Super quick, super fast, super easy. Same thing with this little guy, right? We had this old weathered quite honestly, spider nest, spider little nest infested outdoor planter, super cute. All I did was I mixed up a quick paint stain. So using the DIY clay-based paint with water, we stained it, we sealed it with sealer, and it's ready to tuck in a pot. I mean, you could do florals. You could do florals in it, right? Super cute with florals, whatever you've got going on. And it's ready to go. Again, it looked pretty old. It looked pretty worn. We kept it so that, again, it still has some of the wear look to it. We weren't looking to make it perfect. And it can sit outside now and house your plants, be super cute in the yard for another couple of years. This little guy, it was tired looking in the dark gray. It was kind of worn. You couldn't see the little medallions. You couldn't see the bird. Again, all we did was we dry brushed it with that all-in-one paint. Then it's done. That's it. And you could put a candle in it for outdoors. You could put a potted plant. I'm working with what I got. It was kind of small, but you're with me. Again, doesn't take much. And, you know, you probably got some of that old worn decor or picking it up at a thrift store for peanuts, really. Same thing with this. I mean, this was a baggie. What did I get it for? Like $2, $3, I think. And it was just kind of old, worn, chipped. We just two-toned it in two different colors of blue. Both of them were different all-in-one paints, and painted it out. We mixed up that quick little white glaze, just using an outdoor top coat and some white all-in-one paint. And now nice, bright, cheerful, able to be part of outdoor decor very quickly, very easily. If you were doing an outdoor market, you're able to sell that very quickly with you know, a really pretty low price point and still have great margins on it. And that's really what it's all about, that you're not investing tons of paint, you're not investing tons of time. You're able to fix these up, zhuzh them up very quickly, either for your own use or for an outdoor market. And same thing for this old wooden candle stand. I mean, people aren't going to be using that as a candle stand anymore. We just attached, just with a quick little screw. I used the screw in a washer because the screw head was smaller than the hole in the pot. We just painted it out with the all-in-one paint. We added a quick little mold that was an impression of a stamp. We don't need to do any other embellishments because it's all in the potted plant. We don't want to necessarily add on a transfer onto the back of this because it's not outdoor hardy. It's gonna crack and peel in the sun, but this is just super easy, super neutral, really. You know, the flowers, the plant ultimately becomes the decor, but it looks, you know, just as cute with just greenery added in as it does with a floral. Nice and quick. All of these are super quick, super easy. I wanted to show you that it doesn't take much. You don't have to do a lot to things to be able to zhuzh them up and make them be part of your outdoor decor. I know I just recently did the planter, the old rusty planter, and I did layers of paint on that one to create a unique finish. And as easy as that is, I know that doing multiple layers, I think, what did I do? 4 or 5? 5 layers maybe of paint. They dry instantly, so it was nothing to do, but it can seem more challenging. It can seem more involved. So not. None of these finishes were involved. And pretty easy for you to grab, you know, 5 old pots that you've got, pick one of the treatments so that they all match your outdoor decor. You've got them done, you bang them out in an hour or so, and you're ready to go. You're ready to just go and enjoy your yard. I hope this gave you some ideas. I hope you you some inspiration. I hope that you're able to go out to your garage, start looking at some of your old decor, and rather than tossing it, gave you some ideas of how you could fix it up, use it again, you know, save yourself a couple of dollars buying something new. Looking forward to seeing you on the next one. And as always, until then, take care.